Hello everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome to Retro Reviews, the show where I review films from the past, usually from before when I was born in 2001, and give you a modern day perspective on the movie itself. You know, does it still live up to its classic traits, or is it now a dud? Today I will be reviewing Silence of the Lambs. Now, this is a movie with Jodie Foster as Clarice and Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, the famous Hannibal the Cannibal. And yeah, little did we know at the time that this would not just be a standalone, that this would turn into a series of films, and it would give birth to the films Red Dragon and Hannibal, which both have Anthony Hopkins in. I think one of them, maybe even both of them, have Jodie Foster as Clarice in as well. Now, this movie is basically about this behavioural policing, profiling part of the FBI trying to track down this killer called Buffalo Bill. And what the head of this agency does is it takes one of the trainee FBI officers basically to go out and interview Hannibal Lecter and to try and coerce him into helping them solve the case. And that was a bit of a shock for me personally when I first watched the movie, because I've seen it a couple of times now, but when I first watched it, you would expect a movie with Hannibal in for Hannibal to be the main bad guy, but he's not. He's just kind of the middleman. Like, he's not good because he kills people, but he's not bad because he's helping the good people. So he's kind of that middle ground in this movie. And it's quite an interesting way to go about it, to introduce Hannibal, and it makes it a lot more intense, because you know at any moment he can snap and he will just kill on the spot. Jodie Foster as Clarice is phenomenal. She plays it so well. A lot of the reactions to a lot of the things that Hannibal says is just so realistic, and to act so out of place with a gun in your hand and stuff like that, and to really act like a trainee, it's so good. But things start to unfold that Hannibal was really, he starts playing with them a little bit, which he does anyway. He's known for it. He's known for getting in people's heads and messing with them and twisting them in a sort of weird way. But the amount of tension in this movie it just builds and builds and builds, because you just know at any moment something's going to go wrong, and then people get power hungry because when there's a serial killer around, it becomes more than just finding the killer. It becomes power. Whoever finds the killer has power, has this mystique around them of I'm the one that found them, I deserve all the credit, and you get all the credit for it. So it just kind of builds and builds and builds, and you become almost a legend in the story. And especially when there's a serial killer, serial killers are spoken about over and over and over and over again, so it becomes this power trope. So you've got people coming in for power, you've got the FBI genuinely wanting to find the killer, and then you've got this trainee officer and Hannibal Lecter. Two people who just constantly interact with one another, not in a weird sexual way, but they just interact. She constantly goes to get answers, to constantly get answers, but Hannibal, he wants answers himself. You know, he won't give unless he takes from you first. So yeah, it's this mystique of knowing who Hannibal Lecter is, knowing how horrible he is, just makes you more nervous, and it builds the tension without them having to do much in itself. You know, and I don't know whether the word of who Hannibal Lecter is just more known nowadays than it was when the movie came out, or whether when the movie came out, because it was based on a book, that maybe the word had gone around as to the character of Hannibal Lecter. So I don't know which went around first, but whatever it is, nowadays it just, that tension, it's there already. You don't even, as soon as you hear the name Hannibal Lecter, you're like, oh shit, like, you worry for everyone that comes in contact with him. And that's not to include the fact that there's then this serial killer called Buffalo Bill who's skinning people basically. It's a really good movie, and I think if anything it might actually have more impact nowadays than it probably did back then, just due to the fact there's been so many well, I wouldn't say there's been loads of incarnations, but there's so many mentionings of Hannibal Lecter. Everyone knows who Hannibal Lecter is. You know, the show Hannibal itself was big, it was huge. So with that show been shown to a modern day audience, we all know who Hannibal is. Anyone that's in the show, most people know. So it just, that tension's already there. You're already on edge. The only probably thing I would say that I don't really like is you don't see much of the killer. Now I know I've mentioned in previous reviews to do with the horror movies that not seeing the killer is the best thing. I think in movies like this, like thrillers, crime shows, I think you need to see him a bit more being dastardly, because you don't really see it. You don't see them being horrible. You hear of them being horrible, but you don't see them being horrible really in the movie. And I think it just, there's less of that, come on, you've got to beat him sort of a feel. And I know a lot of that feel comes from how lovable the character of Clarice is, but if they were to really show how horrible this person was, but show it more, maybe just one more scene of just him being horrible, you know, maybe just add 5 minutes just to add a scene of him being more horrible, and I think it would have had so much more impact. But that's probably the only thing I can nitpick, and as I said, that is nitpicking in this movie. It really is good. It still stands up today, as I said, probably even more. So yeah, if you've seen this movie before, tell me what you thought in the comments down below. It would be interesting to see whether you think this movie stands up today, whether maybe I was wrong, maybe the mystique of Hannibal Lecter was already there back in 1991 when this movie came out. It would be interesting to see what you thought of the movie. So put that down in the comments down below. Hit that like button to tell me that you like this video. It really does help me out. Helps me to know what you like and what you don't like as much, and also it just helps my videos out in general. And then if you don't want to miss anything, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on really, as I'm coming out with pretty much a video a day. So yeah, if you want to stay up to date with that, hit that subscribe button. So yeah, that is my review on Silence of the Lambs. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See